Hello, all my art-loving people out there. I just spent the entire month of July opening and having fun with a 31 Days of Watercolor Advent calendar, and we have 25 dot card samples that we get to make a painting from today. It's going to be really fun. Look at all these delicious dot cards, and yes, some I put the dot cards on half pans I already had, so that's why you see half pans in here. Didn't come with half pans, but I'm really excited to try this painting today, so let me show you what I've been working on. Real quick first, here's a better look at all the dot cards we have. 25 of them, if I counted right, and I think I did, and that's a bunch. And then I've been working on sketching some various things that I want in my little scene here. At least the idea was to do a whole scene, and I started to sketch some weird balloon and decided not to. Anyway, I'm going to transfer some of these sketches onto my watercolor paper in various places using graphite transfer paper because I don't want to redraw some of these. And then we'll apply paint, and for this little project I've decided to use my Bao Hong watercolor block because it was on the top of my drawer and it's the right size. So instead of trying to move my sketchbook all the way around and put these where I wanted them, I decided to just cut them out of the sketchbook, which I don't really like to do because I like to leave my sketches intact, but I knew I wanted these in various different places, so that's what I did. And then I just kind of tacked them down with some painter's tape and transferred them using the graphite transfer paper, which I mentioned before. And then I realized I wanted some balloons there, so I hadn't drawn those yet. Thought about just painting them in randomly, but I always regret when I do that, so I went ahead and sketched them out and put them in there, and then kind of placed things where I think I wanted them, and then I have sort of a layout that I think I was mostly happy with. I messed up a couple of times using the transfer paper just because I have like the guy overlapping the tent, but then I put the tent all the way down, and so there was a line through his face, and even though I bought the transfer paper that says that it's erasable and graphite and wax free and all of that, it does not erase. So just be aware, even if it says it's erasable, it's probably not. I always tell my students, make the lightest line transfer, or the lightest transfer line possible that you can with this, because it's not going to erase like it says. Just don't believe it. Phew, all transferred over. I knew the moment I put that pencil sharpener on this paper it was a boo-boo, but it was already too late. So I thought this would be a great opportunity to also try out these new brushes by Fuumuui. I do have a brush set here that I bought myself several years ago, and I featured this brush set in a lot of my what to get people for Christmas videos. This is the original one where they just snapped in. These days they screw in, at least this set does. I have to check this one. I opened it once for my Patreon supporters on a live stream, but I can't remember. Anyway, the new ones screw in. So I love these brushes. I actually just took them with me on my trip not too long ago when I took this Cheap Joe's travel kit and did some paintings for World Watercolor Month. That painting, which wasn't very good, and then one more in a sketchbook, or was it a sketchbook? I don't remember. Anyway, I really like these brushes a lot. So when they invited me to test another brush set out, I jumped all over that opportunity. And this brush set here, my kind of daughter-in-law Tori said she was interested in, so let's see what they look like. It does look like they have the threads so that they'll screw together. And if we open that up, yep, it does have to be unscrewed. So we have a flat brush here. They're considering this a size 8. It's very soft. I'm just wanting to pull them out. I'm so used to my other brushes. Oh, a very nice long round size 8. Does have sizing in it. An 8 dagger and a small round. This is awesome. Size 4. All right, I'm going to take these to the bathroom sink and get the sizing out of them, and we'll test them out on this painting. Without the sizing in them, you can kind of see how the brush will just stay in the shape that it's pushed in. Very interesting. It's very soft also. This one still is a short enough flat that it doesn't misbehave at all. So same with this. And nice dagger. So yeah, I guess we'll experiment with these. Don't really know what I want to put in the blank space of all of this. But thinking some sky, maybe some water back there, in which case I should probably start with the bigger brush. We have a couple fun colors we can use for the sky. Any of these actually would be a decent enough sky color. Ooh, we could have a stormy sky. That's that Bloodstone Genuine. I didn't mark these. Luckily I have the cards still. This is a hard choice. I think I'll use the cerulean blue hue for some sky. We'll see how that goes. And that is a really soft brush. This could be interesting because I'm not very good at using brushes that have real hair, natural hair I should say, because they're so soft. I'm just not used to them, which always makes it pretty interesting when I go to paint with them, because I'm like, wait, too much water, not enough water, I don't know, I just can't handle it. I'm used to synthetic brushes, although the Fuumuui set I have is not synthetic either, but they are stiffer than these. As you guys might know just from your own painting, when you are painting around things, it takes a long time. So I wanted to water the entire background where the sky was going to be so that it would be a smooth laydown of color. And of course I had banners and balloons and tents and all of that to paint the water around and then to paint the paint around, but it didn't take too long. That's the nice thing about this bao hong paper is I really only had to put one layer and then touch up a few places. Sometimes when I'm watering paper like that, I have to do it 2 or 3 times because it really soaks it in. But the bao hong was basically 1 1/4 times. Well, this brush worked great. I loved it. I loved it. Let's do the dagger brush now, even though it's not as big. I could probably still water the bottom with the other brush, but maybe I will. Holds a little bit more water. Oh, got some water in the girl's hair. Not that that really matters, but I wasn't sure what I was going to do for the ground down here, but I think, oops, that is his belly. I think I'll maybe have it look like grass somewhat. And so more painting around shapes with water, but you know, it's worth it. All right, dagger brush, Denise's green. Oh, I like the feel of this brush. And look at that beautiful color. We also got a lot of yellows, so we can mix in and get different varieties of green. Get a nice sharp point there if we want. That's so awesome. Dagger brushes can be so fun. I was really impressed with the little fine detail I could get with that dagger brush. Plus you use the belly of it and you can cover a big area, so it's pretty versatile. I also love Denise's green. Da Vinci makes that, and then right there I added in a little bit of that Daniel Smith Quinoptolone yellow, and it's really nice too. It can be very transparent with enough water. It can be quite a bit opaque too if you want it to be, and it very much brightens whatever you're using it on. Let's try out this flat brush and some of these brighter colors I'm thinking. Maybe some of these core colors and definitely that orange. So yeah, some of these, maybe this beautiful yellow. Okay. I need more detail than I can get with this. This holds such a juicy amount of water that it would be better for something bigger like the tent than these. So these have the sharp points, so I am going to switch to the little round. I think that will work better. And yes, that small round worked perfectly because you can get really fine points just like you can with the dagger, but it's even easier to use than the dagger brush. And then, I don't know if you can see that, but I had the dot cards on the right side under there and they kept sticking to my arm. Oh, we have the swamp cooler going in our house. Everything is really, really wet. So even my paint is staying more wet with the swamp cooler going all the time. I had so many paint stick to my arm. It's silly. What is that color? That's amazing. I gotta go find it now in the was core. Cobalt turquoise. Ooh. Gonna put that on my wish list because that's amazing. Love that. Very pretty. While we have this out, we might as well use the permanent scarlet too, huh? And I just continued to use as many of the bright colors as I could to fill in the rest of these banners. And it's fun to see them start to come together. I realized later I kind of just made them monochromatic, but I do add a little bit of highlight to them later in the video, like at the very, very, very end. So I do give them a little bit of life. And then I kept looking at the cards to figure out what color I was using since I didn't write them on the back like I should have right from the beginning. That stuck to my arm. I'm just not having good luck here. That's a lot of paint. Look at all that. My favorite shirt too. I don't think it's on my shirt yet. Will be, I'm sure. Give it time, give it time. Oops, let's just spread it around. I'm decorated. That's okay. And this ultramarine violet for a little highlights, shadows. Give this some movement, maybe. Oh, now that one stuck to me. Oh no. I'm gonna have to find an actual rag here. Oh no, my dog has a decoration on his forehead. I doubt that'll come out. That is a very staining color that dropped on his little head. He may have to have like a jewel decoration on his forehead, you know? Or just leave it to bao hong paper and then we're good. All right. And a scrubber brush. I happen to have that out still. All right, let's try not to dip our hands and arms into any more paint. However, somewhere in here, I used my PR209 dot card and I can't find it to save my life. It probably happens right after I paint this balloon here, and I probably set it down under my arm. Oh no, it didn't happen there. Well, anyway, Riley came home, I'm chatting with him, and I'm like, do you see a dot card on the floor or anywhere? I cannot find it anywhere. And was looking for probably 5 minutes for this dot card and found it stuck to my arm again. I was starting to wonder about my mental sanity at that point and my overall brain. If you know what I mean. When you start to get a little worried about yourself because you know not to put dot cards down there, but you keep putting dot cards down there and then you keep putting your arm in them and you're like, seriously? How many times am I going to do this before I learn my lesson? Oh, it was kind of funny and kind of annoying all at the same time. So if you just keep watching, you'll probably see when it happens. Probably right around here somewhere. Do you see how my arm is resting on the PR209 dot card? And look, it disappears. It's stuck to my arm. I don't even know it. I can't find it anywhere. Oh, it cracked me up. It's so funny watching this because I get to see exactly how long it was stuck to my arm. Oh, how funny. And there's that graphite gray. I love using that. I actually use that for all the line work. I'm going to try an experiment now that I don't know if it will work, but I want to try it anyway. I want to wet this up into the sky a bit and down into the grass a bit and drop in some of the Bloodstone Genuine and see if it gives me the look I'm hoping for, which I'm not sure what that look is yet. Kind of like a misty, I don't know, mystery kind of, vagueness, I guess. That would be, I think, the phrasing I'm looking for. Some kind of just misty vagueness, yes. So we'll see if this works. If you don't experiment, you'll never know. It is so much fun to drop a paint like this onto your painting. I really encourage you guys to give it a try and see what you think. Interesting. Then I contemplated what to do next and put in some more of Denise's green in there because it just needed more, better, greener, and I think I add even more later. This painting is going to be the queen of all the colors. So now we're going to use the Da Vinci Violet for these triangles here because I want to, if I can. One thing about the Da Vinci Violet is that it's very, very strong. And I end up putting it down and then dabbing it up with a paper towel because I'm thinking it's way too dark. And so then I end up pulling a palette over so that I can water it down. Yeah, there we go. I had an open palette from my Winsor & Newton there. And I'm like, okay, I need to add some water to this. It's not something you can do with it just sitting on top of the pan itself. And so grabbing that extra palette really helped and gave me the lighter purple that I was looking for because you can get this purple down into a deep black nearly. And then I did glaze the purple over the yellow, which created kind of a brown color, which I liked. That's what I was going for. I knew purple and yellow made a brown color, but I wanted some stripes up on the top of the tint, and I thought that worked perfectly for that. And then I thought the tint needed even a little bit more, so I grabbed the Hansa Yellow Deep, and I put a coat of that, kind of the opposite of the purple, what are they called? Purple triangles? You can see me doing that right here. And I think that helped a lot. It just gave it a little bit more character, a little bit more life, and I brought a little bit of that Hansa Yellow Deep up into the top of the tint as well. Now I'm filling in her dress with the Cobalt Violet, which is very, very granulating. It's kind of neat. So I believe I've already told you this, but I'm trying to make a point to use every single dot card. So every single color that was in the advent calendar is supposed to be represented on this painting in some way. And the backstory I'm imagining about this painting is that this guy is out training his circus dog, or maybe the circus dog is training the guy, I'm not sure. But they're out kind of behind where the circus and the carnival is, and that's why there's not a big crowd, not a lot of people, because that's all happening on the other side of that tent. So he's trying to just get a private space, train his dog, hang out, whatever. And this little girl with the balloons comes running through, and she loses her balloon, so she's reaching up, saying goodbye to them, but she's all happy. She's not sad about losing her balloon. She thinks it's all part of the fun of the day. And so the dog is looking over at her, and the guy's looking up at the balloons, and that was kind of the thought behind the painting. So the dog and the guy and the girl, well, we only see the back of the girl, so that's not too bad, but the dog and the guy are kind of small for this kind of painting, but it worked out okay. And that small brush, it was the small round that I used I think the entire rest of the painting was the small round brush, because it just works perfectly for everything else I wanted to do. Plus, I tend to be one of those painters, when I have a brush in my hand, I keep that brush in my hand, and I don't tend to switch, I just forget to switch. So that's the way that is, and it worked beautifully. It was such a joy to use, actually. All the brushes were a joy. Nothing was wiggly, wobbly. The bristles were really nice. I just had a lot of fun with the painting, the dot cards, the brushes, the whole works. And we have to give a shout out to Bao Hong paper, because it's amazing. I just love this paper so much. I have a sketchbook with this paper in it as well, and it is also a joy to use. It is one of those sketchbooks where I'm always excited to open it and paint in it, and so that's pretty cool. Oh, I did start a new type of sketchbook yesterday, which I will share with my patrons first over there, just because I have a video already planned with it for them, but I will obviously show you guys here on YouTube too, because I think it's going to be pretty fun. So this is the Archer and Olive acrylograph pen, so it works great for white highlights. It's one of my favorites. Well, that's it, that's all. That's my painting using all the dot cards. These brushes are awesome. I really, really, really like them. I've always loved the original set I had, so definitely check them out. There's a 10% off link or a 15% off link, I can't quite remember which, below for you if you are interested in them. These new ones with the screw-on handles are just great. They don't wiggle at all, and they just seem like nice quality brushes. Obviously, it's only one painting, but I have the whole history of using these behind my belt too, so I feel very comfortable suggesting them to you and recommending them. So check out the link if you are in the market for some fun travel brushes, or even just these to use in your studio, because there's nothing that says you can't use your travel brushes in your studio. Well, that is an actual wrap up for the advent calendar, with the exception of I may, with my Patreon supporters, incorporate all the dot cards into my existing palettes. I had a great suggestion from one of you in the comments to make a booklet with all of these dot cards on it, just to have as a separate special palette. That's a great idea too. If I hadn't already incorporated some of these into my half pans, I would probably do that. I think that would be just a fun little travel palette to have. But since I've already started to incorporate some of them, I'm going to go ahead and incorporate the rest. So if you're interested to get extra videos that I don't show here on YouTube, little extra content, some tutorials, check out my Patreon. It's pretty fun over there. We do live streams, Zoom meetings, things like that. All right, guys, I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.